The room was still making that sound, the one where 60 people gasp at once and then forget to breathe out. I felt it more than heard it. A pressure change. My mother, no. His wife had her hand pressed flat against her chest, like she was stopping her heart from escaping. My father stood at the podium, one hand still gripping the edge, pleased with himself. He timed it perfectly, right after my name, before I could walk, before anyone could clap. I should clarify, he'd said voice carrying, that I won't be funding any further endeavors, as the graduate is not, in fact, my biological daughter. He didn't look at me. He looked at the room, waited for the reaction I'd known for 4 months. Not the cutting off part, that was new, but the rest, the part he thought would break me. I'd found a birth certificate my mother had hidden, the original one, when I was looking for my social security card for a summer job application. Different father's name, different hospital. Different year, even by 3 weeks. I'd asked her quietly later that week. She'd cried. Told me she was going to tell me after graduation. That she'd been young, that my father, the one who raised me, knew before they married, that he'd promised never to treat me differently. She believed he'd kept that promise. I believed her. I also believed the way he'd started looking at me around age 14, the way his approval became conditional, the way my achievements were noted but not celebrated. Not like my half-brothers. The envelope had been in my bag for 2 weeks. Insurance. Something my mother's sister, my actual aunt, the one who looked like me, had helped me get. A letter from a man in another state acknowledging paternity, written years ago when my mother tried to get child support, and he'd asked her not to pursue it. He had a wife, other children. He'd sent money anyway, quietly, for a while, then stopped. I hadn't contacted him. I didn't want a father. I wanted the truth to stop being a secret I carried alone. So when my father smiled at the room and said, anyway, like he was moving on to the next agenda item, I smiled back. I stood up. The folding chair scraped against the gym floor. Someone whispered my name. I walked toward the podium, past my brother's shocked face, past my mother's frozen one. My father stepped aside, still smirking, expecting me to crumble or rage or flee. I pulled the envelope from my jacket. I'd like to share something, since we're doing family announcements. My voice was steady. I'd practiced in the mirror until it was. I have another father. This is true. His name is Daniel Cross. He lives in Phoenix. I've never met him. I set the envelope down flat on the podium. Inside is a letter he wrote to my mother when I was 6 months old, agreeing to terminate his parental rights so that the man standing behind me could adopt me. It includes his signature, his address at the time, and an apology for not being able to be present. I paused, looked at my father. He knew about me. He just didn't want me. But he also didn't tell anyone's secrets. He just went away, quietly, which is more than you did tonight. The room was silent again, different kind. My father's wife, I couldn't call her my mother right then, not in that moment, made a sound, small, a hitched breath. Her face had gone the color of paper. Not because of me, because of the envelope. She knew what else might be in there. There wasn't anything else, just the letter. Just the proof that I'd existed before him, that I wasn't his to claim or discard. But she didn't know that. And the way her eyes locked onto the envelope, the way her hands started trembling at her sides, I understood in that second that she had secrets too, secrets about him, about them, about what she'd known and when. I left the envelope on the podium, walked back to my seat, sat down. My father didn't speak again for the rest of the ceremony. Neither did I afterward. In the parking lot, my mother found me, the real one. The one who'd held me, lied for me, tried to protect me from a truth she thought would hurt worse than the pretending. She didn't say anything, just stood there, crying without sound. I hugged her. I'm not angry, I said, and I wasn't. Not at her. She nodded against my shoulder, then whispered, there's more. About him, about what he knew, about what I didn't tell you. I pulled back, looked at her face. I know, I said. I don't need to know. She blinked. I'm done with secrets, I said. I just wanted him to know that I know. That's all. She looked toward the gym where my father was probably standing alone, wondering what I'd actually had in that envelope, wondering what his wife believed I had. I got in my car, drove. 3 days later, he called. I let it ring. 4 days after that, he sent a text. We should talk. I didn't reply. I still haven't.